Hello everyone, my name is Sharon Michael, aka Shasha Band. Today we'll be talking on how to use your camera, a beginner guide to ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Before we start, you need to know your basic camera parts, which are
on and on button, down mode, shutter button, viewfinder, and
back to our topic for today. Aperture. What do you understand by aperture? Aperture, this is the opening of camera lens which affects the amount of light that passes through the lens to the sensor. Aperture is the opening of camera lens which affects the amount of light that passes through the lens to the sensor. The smaller your aperture, the larger the number. The smaller your aperture, the larger the number, and it vice versa. This aperture controls depth of field. What is depth of field? Depth of field is a background. I call it a background, like the kind of a background. A background is what we call depth of field. So the smaller your aperture, the larger it is. And aperture is like a lens, like it's a small lens. The aperture is a small lens. So when your number is small, like let me say aperture is an f-stop. Let me use the word aperture is f-stop. So now if your aperture is small, like 1.4, 1.2, 2.8 and thereabout. So when your aperture is 1 point something, it tends to open more. The lens tends to open more and allow light to come in. So as light is coming in, it tends to blur your depth of field. It makes your background to be very blurry, very, very blurry. So in this kind of case, if you want to snap a group picture and you are using this kind of aperture, I bet you can only capture the person you are focused on. You can only capture the person you are focused on, and the rest of people will be very blurry. And if you want to take a very bright picture, you want your background to show your backdrops, your decoration, that kind of thing now. So if you really want that to show, you have to use a larger aperture, like your f-stop should start from 8. From 8 and above, you tend to have a clear background. But if you are using a lower f-stop, trust me, your pictures are going to be very, very, very blurry. And this aperture is like you doing something like you want to see something from a distance. When your eyes are wide open, you tend not to see things very clear because of the light entering your eyes. So you tend to dim your eyes a bit to see something far. Because as you're dimming your eyes, the amount of light coming in is not much. So you tend to see something very far. That's how the aperture works. If you want to get a very clear background, your aperture should be big. If you want to get a clear background, your aperture should be big. And if you want to get a blurry background, you can use a smaller aperture. And the smaller it is that you let it open, the more light attracts it, and the blurry is on the white side. Then shutter speed. Shutter speed is the length of time that the camera shutter is open and captures the light. What do I mean by this? Like shutter speed tends to work more on motion, blurry motion and speed. Blurry motion and speed. So the smaller your shutter speed, the blurry your image will be. The smaller your shutter speed, the blurry your image will be. And the higher your shutter speed, the clearer your image will be. What do I mean by this? The shutter speed is like it's a time frame. Let me use that one. The shutter speed is a time frame. When your camera, let's say, it's controlled like, let me use that one. It's controlled like, so when your shutter speed tends to be high, if your shutter speed is high, as it's captured, the amount of light that is coming in is not much. So it makes your image to be sharp when it's high. When your shutter speed is high, you see the tend to be sharp. And it's coming up like, as it's capturing very fast, your image tends to be clear. But when it's low, when your shutter speed is low, like this, you are using the small, let's say you are using 1/2, 1/4. So as it's before you capture, before you come close and capture, it has devour this light. Like the lights are coming more. So because of the more the light has, because of how the camera, your shutter absorbs light, because of the light it has already absorbed, it makes your image to be blurry. And if care is not taken, and what also causes the blurry images are, now since your camera has captured the thoughts, you are done. So by the time you remove it or your hand shake, there is every tendency, there is 99% possibility that your image is going to be very blurry. there is 99% probability that your image will be blur because it's low. But when it's high, like from 250, 500, 1000, then you have a very good and sharp image because the light coming into the sensor is not much. It captures very fast. But when it tends to be low, the phone your camera will capture slowly. It has absorbed a lot of light before it now captures. That's why you tend to have blurry images. So let's talk about ISO. This ISO is all about brightness, sensitivity, and noise. ISO increases the light information captured by the camera. The higher the number, the higher the ISO sensitivity of light captured by the camera, and the increases noise. So this is where noise comes in. The higher the number, the higher the ISO amount of light and digital noise. What do I mean by this? If your ISO number is high, you tend to have a very bright and sharp picture, and you also have these grains. If your ISO is very, very high, you tend to have all this noise, all this grain in pictures. You see all this more dark pictures. I think the pictures are breaking. It's because your ISO is very, very, very high. Why some people with their ISO is high, they tend to have all the kind of color like blue or red, something on their imaging. You also have a very sharp picture without blurry and noise. You have to use your ISO. If your ISO is small, then you have a very clear, bright, and sharp. And if your ISO is very, very high, if your ISO is high, like 1600, 1400, 1400, or thereabout, tends to have noise on your picture. And your picture will be very bright and white, which is not supposed to be so. Please, my dear, I would advise if you are taking an outdoor shoot, I will advise you use an f-stop. Your f-stop should be 4, your ISO should be 100, and your shutter speed should be 1/125. So that's the perfect for beginners. And as time goes on, you just place your aperture, your ISO in the shutter speed. Thanks to get good. If you find this video helpful, hit the subscribe button, like, share. You'll get notified when we are uploading our new video. You can make video every week. So when you subscribe, you will be notified whenever we drop new video. Thank you. Love you.